Hey everyone, it's Tony Carver from TLC Style and Colour here. I'm back with this new part of my series on decluttering your wardrobe in manageable chunks. So if you've been watching my previous weeks, you'll know this is particularly useful for you if you want to avoid the overwhelm of having to do a mass decluttering exercise. It helps you focus on specific areas that you can tackle in a more manageable way, perhaps if you're short on time or indeed you're short on energy and inclination to actually do a big overhaul. So this week I'm talking about shoes. Shoes. I have to say I'm a big fan of shoes. And I did a declutter mission of shoes myself as well during lockdown because again I found it wasn't just the not wearing some shoes, but actually I found that I'd kept hold of some shoes as a just in case, or that perhaps they went with specific outfits which actually during an earlier declutter I've already got rid of, so actually I'm never going to wear them again. So women do love their shoes, or many women I meet do, and I find as well that a lot of women show and express their personality through their footwear as well, which is fascinating and really interesting for me anyway. So I want you to think about your shoes and your shoe collection, and like anything that you're decluttering, it's best to look at everything together. So get all the shoes out in a big mound if necessary, wherever they're hiding, whether that's in your wardrobe, in boxes, in a cupboard, get them all out so that you can actually see them. You might see a pattern. So for instance, if you've got multiple pairs of one style of shoes all in the same colour, ask yourself, do you actually need them all? Look at the condition of them, because if you've got some shoes that are actually quite old, they're quite worn, they can't be repaired, or actually you've got some newer ones which are more comfortable and they look better, and you're wearing them, then it might be time to get rid of the older pair. So think about the shoes as well that don't fit you. We've all been there, we've got those shoes that either we can't walk in, they kill our feet, they're agony to walk in. We're not willing to sort of sacrifice that aspect of it, and actually they just don't fit. So for those ones, it's easy just to review, I would say. So for instance, if they're too big for you, your heel will probably slip out of the shoe, which will be a big tester as to whether they actually fit you or not. So if your heel's slipping out, they're probably too big. One way to that you can solve that problem is to buy heel grips that you can put inside the shoe. Now obviously if you've got sandals or something, or slingbacks with them, they're a bit more difficult to do. But if you've got a full shoe that you can actually place at the back, it will help to keep your heel in place. In my experience, they are very good, but usually only if it's, say, half a size difference. Because if it's a full size difference, chances are it might help, but it won't be sufficient to sort of keep them on your feet. So think about the size. If it's the opposite and they're too small for you, it'll feel like your feet are squashed into something that just won't work. Chances are the skin as well on your feet might overhang perhaps some of the shoes. It's almost like it's squished in, which can be really uncomfortable as well. So they're your too big and too small. So ask yourself, do you really want to keep them? Are they pre-loved? Can you get rid of them through a pre-loved site or something like that? There's a couple of pairs of beautiful shoes I had to get rid of because I just thought they are too small. They do pinch my feet, and as amazing and beautiful as they were, I had to be honest and just actually bite the bullet and get rid of them because I was just never wearing them. So you've got to be honest with yourself sometimes, ladies, about your shoes, as much as painful as it is to actually do. Let's talk about height. Some people can walk in heels and some people can't, okay? You'll know which camp you are. If you struggle to walk in heels, what you need to be able to do is assess the height, and actually the height of shoe that you can comfortably take and comfortably walk in. And I've got an old blog which I wrote a couple of years ago about heel heights on shoes and how to measure your foot. So I'll dig that out and add it on at the bottom in the comment section of this video. But think about wedges. Wedges are a great alternative because they will suit most people. They'll give you height and they'll give you support and they'll give you comfort often as well. So on the subject of support and comfort, if a heel isn't something that you can comfortably walk in, then actually consider a blocker heel, because a wider block of a heel rather than a point of a stiletto will actually give your foot much better support as well. So think about that. So we've done what doesn't work. And the ones that do work, that actually, again, think about the styles. So comfort is usually a key for me personally. Think about the colour. What will those shoes and the colour of those shoes go with your wardrobe and your existing outfits? Neutral colours will work better. So your beiges, your browns, your greys, your blacks, your navies. They're your neutral bases, so they will often go with more things because they're neutral. Classic styles. So what I mean by classic styles is that shoes can be a real tester as to the age and the date of them. So if you bought something that's particularly fashionable at the time, it might not be fashionable, say, in a year's time. The more classic style of shoe will carry you through the seasons much easier, so they can be much more better for pounds per wear. And think about how many of each type of shoe you've got. So if you've got 3 wedges all in black, what's the differentiator between them? Are you really wearing all 3 pairs? Remember, when you're doing decluttering, it's all about what have you got, what goes with multiple things, what doesn't, and actually do you still want to keep them? So what do you need to make them work for you? Other tips that you might want to think about is pointed toes on your shoes will lengthen the appearance of your legs. The more foot that you show, if you think about this as your foot, the more foot area you're actually showing, the longer the illusion of your legs and the narrower your ankles. And if you are a petite in height, try to avoid the ankle straps, because actually what they'll do is they'll visibly shorten you because they're cutting you in terms of a visible line. And if you have wider ankles, avoid those ankle straps as well, because actually they will be uncomfortable as well as quite restricting and tight for you. Thinking about matching. So if you're a person that likes to match your shoes to your handbags, and you've done already, I think it was part 3, on the handbag declutter. So if you've got rid of the bag and you've still kept the shoes, will you wear the shoes, or are you one that has to have things matching? So think about that. What shoes will go with what bags, and what shoes and bags will go with your outfits? If, for instance, you are not concerned with mixing and matching your clothes and your shoes and your accessories, then obviously think about what works for you, how many of a pair that you've got, and actually what you need to do to get rid of them. So that is my relatively short, keeping an eye on the time, in terms of decluttering your shoe collection. Remember, pounds per wear, that's my biggest motto. And think about as well, almost if your hand will go into a shoe, then actually that's more likely to fit your foot, because actually your hands are most similar to your feet. Hope that was useful. I hope you've enjoyed these parts of my decluttering in manageable chunks. Don't forget to check out the website, which is www.tlcstyleandcolour.co.uk, and thanks for tuning in.